One of the most powerful figures in Lagos history was not a king, not a warrior, but a woman. A woman whose influence shaped trade, politics, and power in pre-colonial Lagos. A woman feared by enemies, respected by kings, and remembered centuries later. Her name is Efunroye Tinubu, and now Nollywood icon Fathia Balogun Williams is bringing this legendary story to the big screen in a new cinema release titled Efunroye the Unicorn. Let's get to know who Efunroye Tinubu was during her lifetime. Efunroye Tinubu was not just a Lagos woman, she was a force of nature. Born in the early 19th century, Efunroye rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most influential merchants and political power brokers in Lagos and abeokuta. At a time when women were expected to remain silent, Efunroye spoke loudly. Through words, strategy, and control, she dominated trade routes, she influenced kings, she decided who rose and who fell. Efunroye Tinubu was deeply involved in commerce, especially the palm oil and trade economy that defined Lagos before British colonization. But her power went beyond money. She became a kingmaker. Through alliance with obas and warriors, she helped install rulers. Her presence alone could shift political decisions. She was later known as iyalode of Abeokuta, a title reserved for the most powerful woman in the land. To some, she was a visionary. To others, she was dangerous. But to history, she was unforgettable. Efunroye Tinubu's story is not without controversy. History records her involvement in trade practices that reflect the harsh realities of that era, including slave commerce before abolition fully took effect. This complexity makes her story human, layered, and real. She lived in the time where survival meant strength, where power was never given, it was only taken. When British colonial forces arrived and tried to weaken indigenous authority, Efunroye resisted fiercely. She refused to bow, she refused to disappear. Even in exile, her influence remained, and that is why her story still echoes today, because Efunroye Tinubu represents female power in its rawest, even unfiltered form. Fast forward to today, the same story of power, resilience, ambition, and legacy is about to hit the Nigerian cinema. Veteran actress and filmmaker Fathia Balogun Williams is set to release Efunroye the Unicorn, a cinematic retelling inspired by the legendary life of Efunroye Tinubu. This is not just a movie, it is a statement. In Efunroye the Unicorn, Fathia Balogun Williams steps into the story that mirrors history but speaks directly to the modern audiences. The film presents Efunroye as more than historical figure. She is portrayed as a symbol of uniqueness, the woman who could not be controlled, a woman who stood alone when necessary, a woman whose power could not be duplicated. This movie explores female dominance in a male-driven society, the political intrigue and betrayal, wealth as a weapon, loyalty versus ambition. This is the price of absolute power. Through rich Yoruba storytelling, traditional settings, and emotionally charged performance, the film draws a clear line between the past and the present. This is not just about Efunroye, it is about every woman who dared to rise when society said no. At a time when Nollywood is reclaiming African history, Efunroye the Unicorn arrived as a cultural reminder. It tells young Nigerians that powerful women existed long before social media, before modern feminism, before foreign influence. When women who rule with intelligence, fearlessness, and strategy, Fathia Balogun is not just acting, she is preserving history to cinema. Efunroye Tinubu lived, she ruled, she resisted, and now her story lives again. This is more than a movie, it is a legacy reborn. If you love history, culture, power stories, and strong female narrative, this is one film you don't want to miss. This movie is expected to be premiered across the cinema in Nigeria by May 1st, year 2026. All you have to do is to gather your friends and your family in the nearby cinema alongside with your popcorn to enjoy this epic blockbuster movie. Before we move into the actual trailer of this particular movie, please do not forget to give a like on this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so. Thank you. Bye for now.
Ẹ wá bí wọn ṣé wọ́n ti fẹ́ wá sanwó ẹrú tán mú ni. She want plenty gold for she and me. Efunroye wọ́n dọ̀rọ̀ èrò mọ́ mi lọ́wọ́. Ikú ògo àkọ́kọ́ ni o.
chief says you are foolish. So is your statement.
Èmi kan ní jẹ́ Fathia Tinubu.
Ṣé mo gbọ́dọ̀ pátápátá ní sùúrù yẹn lẹ́gbọ̀n ẹ̀? Àwọn olùbíyà Èkó.
Dùsùn ọgbọ́n kan nìyẹn. Agọ̀ni.
Mo pa láṣẹ fún ọ kó o fi ìlú Èkó sílẹ̀ fún wa.